This is a Guide Your Light network production, creating podcasts with purpose.
Okay, biohacks is, you all biohackers of our biology. We want to biohack our hormones. So if you're a woman, if you just think about when a woman feels romanced in the traditional sense, the man is opening the car door for her. That's a romantic gesture. And if he opens the car door, this is something she can do for herself, but he does for her. What does that free her from? The freedom from feeling, oh, I have to do everything myself. There is this feeling that women have more so than ever before, because in life, there's a lot of stuff we have to do. The things we have to do produce testosterone. The things we can do, but we don't have to do, are the things that produce estrogen. Or the things we can't do ourselves that somebody does for us produces estrogen.
Hello, I'm Maritza Barone. Welcome to the Things You Can't Unhear podcast. Has there ever been a moment in your life where you heard, read, or were told something that you simply could not unhear? Something that made you stop in your tracks and helped you to see the world differently in some way, a better way. On this podcast, we create those life-changing moments for you through interviews with some of the world's most profound people around the globe. We explore groundbreaking ideas in health and well-being.
What we're really doing is getting to the root cause of your symptoms. And often we find that that is an emotional block that we have been carrying around in our body that's become almost crystallized and created a physical symptom.
Relationships.
And for women as well, when I talk about respect, it's called respecting yourself, which is don't overgive. Women will tend to put themselves one down, and then wake up at 40 and go, wait a second, I am woman, I deserve respect.
Personal and professional transformation.
This is true of any skill. You only develop it by doing it. And so, if you don't get out there and just start doing it and being a bit rough around the edges at the beginning, you can't work on your craft. And so it can't turn into something.
Spirituality.
Because I think when we know who we really are, we think we're our name and our body and our form and our hair and our clothes and our skin and but when we know who we really are as infinite beings, we're free.
And so much more. So settle in. This might just be a big day for you where you hear something that changes your life in the most transformative way. Welcome back to Things You Can't Unhear. Today we welcome back Dr. John Gray, the author of the most well-known and trusted relationship book of all time, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. It is a staple for so many to strengthen their relationships and understand the opposite sex. We had John on the podcast actually in 2023, and his episode has been one of the most downloaded on this show of all time. And it proves how much we all want better relationships and to understand our partners more. In this episode, he really gives a bird's eye view into the needs of men and women and allows us to see how we can use our own behaviours to influence the behaviours in our partners. It really is powerful stuff. John puts a lot of this down to balancing our hormones. Specifically for men, it's testosterone, and for women, it's estrogen. When we have peaks in these hormones, our emotions reflect this and our behaviors change. In this episode, we explore this in depth, plus other powerful biohacks we can make in our own relationships to help us with long-lasting and satisfying partnerships. We also learn about John's youth, his love for spiritual connection, and especially the 9 years he spent as a celibate monk, which I find so fascinating considering he has gone on to become one of the world's most profound relationship experts. Plus, how he uses his enlightenment in his relationships and life. Do not miss this one. Also, to help the show continue to grow, making our 5th year bigger, better and bolder, and to get more profound guests on the show for you, please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Please and thank you. Now let's jump into this special conversation with Dr. John Gray. Welcome, John Gray, to the Things You Can't Unhear podcast.
I'm so happy to be with you.
I am very happy you're here too. This is second round. We had you on February 2023. And a little fun fact for you, your episode is in our top 3 listen to episodes across the 5+ years that we have had on the show. So people certainly love your message, John.
Well, thank you so much. I feel flattered. I'm happy. For people say, why do you keep doing this? I said, because people like it.
Because people keep listening. Exactly right. Well, thank you for continuing to contribute change relationships, change lives in so many ways. Our episode back in 2023 really talked about that male and female dynamic and how we can really enhance long-term relationships. So I do want to jump into that later on in this conversation as well and get all of your insights and knowledge. But I found a very interesting fact about you recently, and I can't bypass it. So I really would love to open up this conversation with the fact that you were a celibate monk for 9 years before you started any of this work. Can you tell me more about that? It's fascinating to me.
Well, I came in as well. Both my parents are very esoteric, first of all. And so my father taught 7 children. We're all on the mat. When I was 3 years old, we're all doing yoga. Okay. So they're sort of ahead of the curve a bit. When I turned 14, my mother opened up an esoteric bookstore, which was her own books. She had such a big library of books that she was into spiritual books in astrology, yoga, esoterics, Theosophical Society, Autobiography of a Yogi, those kind of things. It was which we call new age books, maybe, whatever. But also she's a very spiritual person. She was just seeing the good in everything. And she had a big library. She started lending it out and everybody wanted to own their own books. So then it turned into having the biggest store, and she never advertised except the little sign outdoor. And it's kind of like what I've done in my life. People say, do you have a publicist? I said, no, we just wait for the calls to come in. I'm doing what's often called Dharma, which is what you're here to do. And part of our journey is to find out what we're here to do and then do it and realize that if you keep doing it, you'll always hit bumps in the road when you're starting to go the wrong direction, and sort of recorrects you back in the right direction. So there I was growing up, and 5 brothers. I'm number 6. Yeah, I'm number 5 in the family, and there's 6 boys. And so after 4 boys, my mother, I think, really wanted to have a girl, right? And so I come along, and I'm already as a child very spiritual. When I was maybe 4 years old, I used to sit by the furnace and just meditate. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I was in a state of expanded awareness, just felt comfortable to me. And then later, when I started working on the ranch, the first time my horse galloped, I had my first totally unbelievable spiritual experience of freedom and unbounded awareness. And these were all just glimpses that I would have growing up, not noticing them. But when I was a monk, then you learn to stabilize those experiences. And a big part of that for me, well, I'll just do the succession real quickly. So then here I'm a teenager. I'm, a normal heterosexual kid. I'm very much on my female side, but I've got girlfriends and all that stuff. And somehow I ended up doing transcendental meditation. Okay. It was the Beatles. I just gone to, people heard about Woodstock. We have all these rock and roll stars and 500,000 people, you're all there and you're all getting high, but afterwards you crash. And so after this huge event, I crashed. I mean, really just crashed. And I was like 17 years old, and there's got to be more to this in life, and right at that time, my mother was in my room and she saw, it was all hippie land, I had all the Beatles, pictures of Jimi Hendrix and fluorescent lights and all that stuff. It was my little cave to bring women back into. I had my own separate apartment at my house. It was a very fun time in my life, but I really crashed. And then my mother came in and I was playing the Moody Blues album. And the Moody Blues was a band and had a song called Om. Om, it was a very Hindu spiritual sound. And my mother walked in the room and she was just elated, and she sat down and I just thought, wow, she's so happy. And then she looked at one of my posters of the Beatles and said, who's that? And I said, that's the Beatles, but who's with the Beatles? And it was the Maharishi of Transcendental Meditation. He was the big guru at that time on the planet. And she had just such a a look about her. And then ironically, 3 days later, a friend told me there's a samurai warrior demonstration. Now, I was on the front of karate magazines. I was into martial arts. And so samurai warrior, I want to go to that. So I went to that. It turned out to be a seminar. And when I was in the seminar, they had a picture of that same man that was in my room when my mother looked at that and went, oh, who's that? And it was an introductory talk on transcendental meditation. I mean, we're talking about destiny guiding us here. I mean, this was out of this world. I really felt like I needed something in my life. I'd hit bottom. I needed something. And then there was this Maharishi. What's that? I don't know. And then Samurai Warrior. It turns out to be a seminar on meditation. I heard that talk. I was so inspired. I was 17 years old. I came home 2 hours late. My dad thought I was out taking drugs. I said, no, I really went to the talk. He said, well, tell me what he said. And I gave the whole talk. I mean, this thing was written in my heart. It was like I was born for that talk. And then after that day, I went to every course the Maharishi ever taught.
Wow.
Okay. I became his personal assistant. I just left everything, big stories on all that, because he kept wanting to send me back to Western school. And I kept finding ways to come back by getting credit at the different universities I went to. But anyway, the point is, I won him over. I was blown away. I became his best student because my pictures on all his 3,600 centers we had around the world. I was teaching the teacher training programs. My brain frequencies were on the poster at all the seminars with my face. So I was really big shot in that world. But mainly there was times where I was just as a recluse and I'd be meditating 15 hours a day. It was a fantastic. And the key to it that most people didn't realize is a celibate means you don't ejaculate. Okay. So a lot of my guys, everybody's always jealous that I was having all these experiences. Well, they were all masturbating. Okay. It was, you can't develop the spiritual experiences. And this is the tradition of celibacy for men. And, you know, I had a very strong female side, and meditation was a way for me to ground that in my masculine. And typically, historically, men who had a tendency to be way on their female side, they would become monks. Okay. That was, you find a lot, and for some, if they had sex, they become gay, but they're basically, if you look in all these ancient traditions, men who had a tendency to be gay or who are more connected to their mothers, they would become shamans and they would practice celibacy. Because if you want to have the juice, if you're a man, you got to have celibacy. Women don't have to have that. They have the juice. Say they just need to have the juice awakened within them, which is, see, women have it all and men don't. This is a very interesting little piece of factoid. We all start out female. Every male is a female. We start out female. We have all the genes that a woman has, and she has all the genes that I have. Then after 3 weeks to 4 weeks, the Y chromosome, which is what makes you male, it releases inside of the male. Its function is to activate 23 genes that women don't have. It activates those 23 genes. And those 23 genes, their function is to shut down many of our female genes. Okay, so it makes us develop a female brain, makes us develop a male brain. Certain things that were already female get shut down. They get overridden. And so we cannot have connection to our female side except through a female or pseudo female side by suppressing our male side. So some men, they give up their male side, they become feminine, but that's like a man out of work. But we don't realize, we don't see it this way, but biologically it's this way. As a man out of work, he's not using his male side. Then what happens is he starts making more female hormones. And when men make more female hormones, ironically, you know, women are thinking we want men to be more feminine. Actually, what you want is men to be more masculine, because when a man's on his female side and his male side is weak, it's shut down. Then what happens is he feels, well, he has a stress hormone gets produced. Whenever a man is stressed, his testosterone is low, his estrogen is high, and he will go into fight or flight. Fight, he becomes angry, irritable, grumpy, resistant, demanding. All the worst qualities of when men are out of balance is actually when his estrogen levels, female hormone, is too high and his male hormone is weak. Or he goes into flight, which is fear. And so his behavior is just he pulls away and so forth. But it's natural. This is a little confusing with men because even when they're not stressed, they do need to pull away in order to rebuild testosterone. And then connection allows them to produce their female hormones. So men are always going from withdrawing to connecting, withdrawing to connecting. And that's all written about in the book, Men Are From Mars. So what we're looking at here is, for me, because I was so much on my spiritual side and on my female side, that 9 years of good, strong celibacy rebuilt my masculine side, or strengthened my male side to my female side. So then I stopped being a monk because, basically I felt like I had found my enlightenment. There was nothing more I could get from my teacher. I wasn't drawn to anymore. I wished him well and whatever, and I had no idea what I was going to do. Just got on a plane and left. People say, why'd you do? I don't know. My soul just said, get on a plane and go to California. And then I thought when I got to California, somebody would meet me. Well, nobody met me. And now I was homeless for weeks and living on the beach in California. It was a terrible time. But then I did get a hold of my old car and started driving around. And as a celebrity in the TM movement, women liked me very much. And so I was seducing women along the way because I had no money, but I could seduce them and spend the night with them. They'd always cook me a meal. So I'd make love to them and cook me a meal. So I did this for a period of about a year, traveling around with many women that I'd known or some I didn't know. And I would interview them saying, I've been a monk for 9 years. Teach me about your body. And somehow, because I've been a monk, it gave them permission to tell me what they liked. Because in normal situations, a woman kind of expects a man to know what he's doing. And so I had the permission to say, well, I really don't know a woman's body. And I think that
call it research.
Yeah, I was doing my research. Basically, I'm learning about women. And it was surprising to me how different men and women are in terms of what makes them tick sexually. So that kind of was a foundation for me already with my ideas of men and women are different. But then I went from teaching, my first classes where I got back into teaching, which is my gift, were on what's called enlightened sexuality. And one of the themes of enlightened sexuality is that people normally have sex for pleasure. And there's all these books, how to increase the pleasure, and you can do this, and you can try this, and all these things and gadgets and gizmos to produce pleasure. And I said, no, sex is not about producing pleasure. It's automatically pleasurable to be naked with somebody, to kiss somebody, to touch our body parts. And yes, some body parts are more pleasurable than others, but the point is not the pleasure. The point is, for a man, when he feels pleasure, he can feel more. That's it. Okay. When men do not have the capacity to feel the way women do. Estrogen is the female hormone that when a woman's happy, she has 10 times more. When she has an orgasm, she has 20 times more than a man. Okay. So it's love. Whenever you feel love, estrogen levels are going up in your body. Well, men can never have the estrogen levels that a woman has. And a man doesn't readily experience that except when he has sex and makes love with a woman. Now, if he just has pleasure, what he gets is a momentary burst of estrogen, which he thinks is an orgasm. What I would call it is just a climax or an ejaculation. An ejaculation is just he had a big burst of estrogen, but his testosterone goes down. The key is if you're seeking pleasure for a man, his estrogen will just go higher and higher. And yes, it is pleasurable. Estrogen is very pleasurable. What he has to maintain is his erection for hours. Okay. He has to be able to last longer, at least 30 minutes, but you can go on and on and on if you have your masculine side and your female side. And that's enlightened sexuality. Enlightened sexuality is focusing not on trying to create pleasure, but to use the pleasure to feel the love in your heart, to feel the love in your heart. And when men can feel the love in their heart, then women can feel more love of being loved. See, for women, it's more about I'm being loved as opposed to love. It's easy for women to love. It's hard for women to really let the love in and feel, yes, I'm being loved. And then their love comes out as a response to being loved. This is just a general lesson for all women in life to learn that much of the time when women are not happy in a loving relationship, they'll always say to me, I give and give and give and I don't give back. That's the theme. That's the female issue. Yet we're taught in all the spiritual books, giving is the point. Giving is the best feeling you can have. And it is. Giving and being received is the best thing in the world. That's what a man's doing. He's giving pleasure to a woman. Oh my gosh, you feel so good. Men always ask afterwards, did you have an orgasm? Yeah, because kind of am I successful in doing what? Providing fulfillment for you. That's his major focus. I want to provide fulfillment for you. For a woman, her greatest fulfillment is when she receives love, then from the place of I've received love, I'm giving love. So that's different from I'm giving love to get love. whenever women tell me I give and give and give and I'm not happy, well, that's because you're giving and giving in order to get love. And you will always give in order to get love unless you first start with how to receive love, how to be in the moment, be in the present and receiving love. And from the place of getting what I need, then give to my partner. Now, in the beginning of relationships, it's all kind of a drug trip. Newness in the beginning, the newness of a new sexual partner, new skin, new body, fresh, everything new, that produces dopamine. Now, dopamine in men, it produces dopamine in women as well. When a man experiences the dopamine of sex, his testosterone shoots up higher than any other time. Okay, it's just way, way up. And that means his best masculine qualities can come out. They're not necessarily, you got to direct them, but that dopamine will produce testosterone. For a woman, dopamine doesn't necessarily produce estrogen. If she feels safe, then dopamine produces estrogen. If she doesn't feel safe, that means you're in danger. Dopamine gets produced when you're in danger. Then her testosterone will come up, and then her estrogen will not come up. So there's a dynamic of romance, of the man caring for the woman, protecting the woman. And how do you protect a woman when she can already protect herself? Those women have to recognize, well, I still need to be protected emotionally, which is I need to get messages that I'm special, that I'm important, that I'm understood, that I can sometimes have crazy emotions. I can sometimes sound like a nag or whatever, and you still love me. See, women are very much aware that they do things that are not that loving at times, and they want to feel that I'm still loved. So this is this need that women have, which is for reassurance that I'm loved. Men's primary need is the need to be reassured that I make a difference. Okay, now women want to make a difference, but men, that's the essence of their testosterone, is when he gets a clear message that I made a difference, his testosterone goes up.
That's so interesting. So what I'm hearing is men need testosterone levels at a certain peak to feel what that heightened love feeling that's ongoing and long lasting, and women need to reach that estrogen. So in order for men to feel that, they need to feel needed. For women, they need to feel safe and understood. Is that right?
And that I can ask for what I need and get it, that I have what I need. And
right.
For a lot of women, it's a wake-up call. And this is a lot to do with linguistics here, but there's a idea where you ask a woman, do you need a man? Women go, no, I don't need a man, because they associate needing a partner with weak neediness. Okay, but anytime you're happy, you're getting what you need. We just become a little self-awareness. If you're hungry and you get food, you feel happy. Oh, food is on the way. So there's a happiness that comes because you're aware of a need. And what women are faced with today is when you don't need men anymore for money, what do you need a man for? And suddenly there's this new awareness that we're gradually stepping into. We need men as women need men to provide an emotional support that our mothers did not get from our fathers. Okay, my mother did not need to communicate, did not talk, didn't complain about no romance or he's working too hard, none of that stuff. She needed a man who provided safety for her. He had a good job. We lived in a nice neighborhood. He would control the boys if they started to get out of control. Okay, she could say, I'm going to tell your father. He was the policeman and he was the provider of financial support. And that just made her, basically, it's the foundation of female hormones, is to feel safe and someone is providing for you, that you're not alone, that you have help. I'm safe and I have help. And what help do you need from a man today? Well, women can do it all. And of course you can do it all. You actually have all the male genes and you have all the female genes. You just, so without a male there, what happens is that you tend to go too far to your male side and you need help to come back to your female side. And a man, when somebody's doing something for you, instead of I have to do it myself, somebody's doing it for you, it gives a chance for your female genes to express themselves by making estrogen, and the emotions that go with that are happiness, joy, gratitude, appreciation. And the biggest one is trust. Okay. I mean, that you don't have sex with anybody unless you have trust that they're going to love you and see you as beautiful and treat you in a respectful way. So this is the female side of us. So we have this balance. So in my journey, you want me to talk about my thing as a monk, that really taught me to have basically learned to be completely self-sufficient. I don't need anybody. That strengthened my masculinity. And then I can take care of myself. I can do what I can make myself happy. And I could, by the way, because when I go into a meditative state, I'm like in an altered state of happiness and peacefulness and calm. Like I just turned it on. It's, there's like in the comic books, I think it's like flash, turn it on and your superpower comes. All I have to do is this. I like have a turn on switch, and then all my channels open up. And so it's like a wind of peacefulness that blows into my body. And then with that energy flowing in, I can choose what emotion I want to feel. I can feel happy. I can feel love. I can feel at ease. Whatever I choose to feel, I can feel at that point because the energy is flowing through me. And anytime I'm unhappy or stressed, then I can just take a moment and do this technique where I can come back to myself. Myself is loving and positive, and that's what meditation gave me, is that ability to do it. However, for those who are out there meditating and whatever, and they're not in relationships, they can easily do that. But to be having sex with a partner and do that is a different story. Okay, 'cause what happens is, if I could just objectively look at myself, I did what people are now able to say, my meditation was a bypass of all my issues. I bypassed my lower self to experience my higher self. So that's why I came to California. When I found my higher self. I mean, I can't go anywhere because I'm everywhere at the same time. And that was like, I said, now there's something else for me to do. I don't know what it was. And that was to have a relationship, because you can't bypass your feelings when you're in a relationship if you're having sex with a partner. Sex changes everything. When you connect with a woman, what happens for a man is now you're connecting with your female side. Because part of how I achieved all this expansiveness and detachment and freedom, that's my pure male side. The love and the personal love. You can have this sort of, I love everyone kind of a thing. But as long as you don't do anything bad to me, I love you. So you can just stay away from everybody. You can go to your higher self. But in an intimate relationship, once you have sex, what happens for a man is now his female side, which was basically pushed down to go up to the high self, it comes up. And that's why traditionally, there's what's in Christianity, we talk about it as the dark night of the soul. After spiritual realization, then there's the dark night, which is everything you bypass to rise up starts to come up. And that's where, a lot of people just remain celibate, and they can maintain that high state. The key is to be able to make love and have sex and raise your children and make money and go through the grinds of life and still have that high self. That's really what we're all called to do as human beings.
Incorporating that knowledge into the human experience, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Bring it into we are spiritual beings in a human body to have this experience. And yet some people spend their whole times trying to go back to where we came from, which I think is a good thing for some people more than others. But we should all at least have a way to connect with our soul, connect with our higher self, and various meditation practices can provide that. I can teach everybody at the end of this, if you'd like me to do it. I share my technique for that. But there's so many good techniques, and there's also techniques that can hold you back. Okay, there's a place where some people practice a form of meditation and then they feel like they're not making progress anymore. It's because they need to shift to something else. Some people feel that they start meditation and it's too boring and they don't get anything out of it. It's because it's not the right technique for them. If I was to learn, if I'm 8 years old and I'm learning algebra, and I think that's when I learned it, or 9 years old, algebra. And before that, I'm learning addition and division. That was very exciting. And then it's boring. And then you learn algebra, and then now you figure that out. Okay, if you keep just doing algebra, it's not going to be that exciting. So you have to go up to geometry and so forth. So you have to progress along, and sometimes you need more advanced techniques. And what's interesting is many people today doing baby techniques don't do anything for them because they're already too advanced. That's a very interesting thing. I have one of my friends who, he doesn't meditate or anything, and but he's already born into a very advanced state. He just doesn't know. I mean, if he goes to a dentist, he could just put himself in the lobby and not experience the pain. That's a very advanced state. I can't do that. Of course, we all have our different talents. It hurts. I can get
It sure does.
So we all are very unique and different in different ways. But So I have an approach that for many people kind of reactivates their enthusiasm for their meditation, whatever. But historically, now let's look at humans before. Men were taught to do quiet meditation because whenever a man becomes quiet, he can start rebuilding his testosterone. When men talk about feelings, they build estrogen. So women, particularly, their spiritual journey was singing, dancing, caring, loving, and that's how they felt the love of God. That was an enlightened state for them. And for men, it was like detaching and being in control and being able to meditate, be selfless in what you do, selflessly serve others. This is all part of masculinity. And now we've evolved into another place where we have the potential to, but we have to develop the skill, the potential to be fully on my male side and fully on my female side. And for a woman, the potential to be fully on her female side and her male side. So the way that starts out, the way it has started out in the world today, is women felt confined by being just in their female side. They didn't feel this way in the past. You can go down to indigenous cultures. Women do not feel oppressed. Okay, clearly women started to feel oppressed and then men started becoming oppressive. But there's a place where we really fit together very nicely. And you can see it in different cultures that haven't evolved to the freedom that we have. Freedom is a very advanced stage. You can't just say to an 8-year-old, you're free. Okay, they'll go nuts. Okay, they'll become massively dysfunctional. They need supervision, they need rules, they need guidance, and so forth. And then you get to a certain place in evolution where you're free and you can do whatever you want. But that's where we are right now in Australia and the Western world to great. We're going to try out everything we want. And the problem is we still need direction, some wisdom. And so, I could have, and I did, I tried everything out, so I had girlfriends and had sex, all kinds of things. I realized this is not as satisfying as I thought it was going to be. I mean, you hear these stories over and over about all these billionaires or millionaires who go, gee, I thought it was going to make me happy. It didn't make me happy. So we want to learn more quickly what makes us happy, which is making a difference and also creating love in your life. Those two things, very, very important things. And we have to find that balance. And to know that when you have the access as a woman, when you can easily access your male side, because you have a culture that supports you in doing that. You used to have a culture that did not support women in going to their male side, and definitely did not support men in going to their female side. If you go to, I've been to Africa, I've been in the indigenous tribes there in the jungles, take hours through the jungle with guides to get to places. And women are doing the gardening. If a man was to help out in the gardening, they would make fun of him. It's like, what do you, get out of here, and the women, they have rules, you can't go into the jungle, but they don't feel oppressed. They don't want to go into the jungle. See, they're happy, and they're not overwhelmed and stressed out raising kids because most of them are all pregnant or with babies, and they don't have birth control, and they have lots of sex, and they have their babies, but they have other mothers around. They go down to the river. They're all washing the clothes in the river today, and the babies are all being taken care of, and they're having a grand time. Today, it's like suddenly we have this, women are like, if they're in a relationship, they need so much, or they just go, I don't need them at all. Okay. It's all or nothing. Either I need you and you're not enough for me because I need more and I can't find any man who'll give me enough. So it's never enough, or I don't need you at all. We've become way too extreme, and we're looking to find the balanced place.
That's
and
right.
I don't know how you can
bring those lessons into the modern world. Ladies, pass the pickle jar to the man, get him to open the jar for you. He will feel so masculine.
Yes. And, just
even if you can open that jar yourself, just pass it to him.
Yes, better if you can open the jar yourself, and then you don't have to open the jar yourself because you've got a man. See, I analyze this. We're going to do a few biohacks here.
Taking a quick minute to interrupt this conversation to let you know about something exciting I am growing. As you might know, I'm incredibly passionate about helping people to find and share their voice, especially if their voice is one that aims to create positive change in others. And I've launched a podcast network with purpose. It's called the Guide Your Light Network, that features podcasts and voices that inspire, educate, and transform listeners. And we have a library of podcasts that are part of our network that truly embody that mission, and we're looking for more. If this has sparked interest in you and you are ready to start exploring speaking and using your voice in this way, I'd love for you to check it out. Also, if you have something important to say and you don't know where to start to bring that to life, we can also help you to craft your authentic message through our Guide Your Light online sessions to help you get super clear on your intention, messaging, and structure needed to launch a podcast of your own that is authentically you. Just head over to guideyourlightnetwork.com.
Okay, biohacks is, you all biohackers of our biology. Well, we want to biohack our hormones. So if you're a woman, if you just think about when a woman feels romanced in the traditional sense, the man is opening the car door for her. That's a romantic gesture. And if he opens the car door, this is something she can do for herself, but he does for her. What does that free her from? The freedom from feeling, oh, I have to do everything myself. There is this feeling that women have more so than ever before, because in life, there's a lot of stuff we have to do. The things we have to do produce testosterone. The things we can do, but we don't have to do, are the things that produce estrogen. Or the things we can't do ourselves that somebody does for us produces estrogen. Now, in my research, what I found is that if a woman needs help and a man offers to do it, her estrogen goes up. She's happy. It's so nice. That's what romance is. Oh, he's so thoughtful. He remembered to do this. He did this. He did that. Their heart, it just activates something. Suddenly you just start feeling turned on to him, or you feel the potential to be turned on to him. You feel this, oh, it's so nice. That has to be activated again and again. Same thing for men, that has to be activated in him. That this special feeling for you over everybody else, I have this feeling for you. It has to be activated. And what's activated is whenever she has a need and he does it and he's happy to do it, triggers it, and it's done. What I found, it's even more triggering of those good feelings if it's something she can do for herself, but she doesn't have to do it, and he's happy to do it for her. So just think about a romantic date. The man takes you on a date. He plans it. He takes you. You could plan it. You could do it all, but he does it for you. And I remember even with Bonnie, the first years where I'd open the car door and she's, oh, I can do that myself. And I said to her, oh, honey, of course you can do it yourself, but you do so much for so many people and for me. Tonight, let me do everything for you. It's a physiological shift in the body. Oh, okay. Now, some women in the beginning are uncomfortable with that because they feel they're just so locked into their male side. The male side has to earn love. Okay. I do not deserve anybody's love unless I earn it. That's my male side. My female side goes, no matter good or bad, whatever, forgive me, I deserve to be loved. I'm an innocent person. I'm only doing the best I can. I deserve to be loved. That's one part of me. That's so strong inside of me. My wife used to always say when I do the wrong thing, people say, how do you deal with that? You have to realize John's an innocent. He's always trying to do his best. He just didn't know that was going to happen. So it's so easy to forgive when you realize somebody didn't mean it. Okay, he's innocent. So, but that's my female side. The female side, I deserve to be loved no matter what. My male side, I don't deserve to be loved at all unless I deliver. See, these are two sides of us. And when a woman's on her male side, then she gets caught up in this. In order to get love, I have to do all this stuff for a man. And you don't. You actually have to go to your female side and get the support you need that will make you feel relaxed, happy, safe, trusting, grateful. That's your female side. So think about two powers, because we a lot of the whole thing is empowerment of women, and it's good. Okay. Women need to find their self-sufficiency. I'm all for that. So there's two powers within us. My male power, your male power, is the ability to earn, the ability to make a difference, the ability to get things done. All right. Look what I can do. Look what you're doing.
And it serves us in a work capacity so
Oh,
much.
yes. And in life, let's say you're a single woman, you have to go out and make money. You have to support yourself. That's your male side. That's good. And it feels good until it doesn't. And it doesn't feel good when you feel overwhelmed and stressed and exhausted and tired and feeling like, why do I have to do this? I don't want to do this, but I chose to do this. I'm going to do this. It's a big conflict inside of women when they're over here on their male side. Well, what is the power of their female side? If the power of my male side is to make things happen, the power of my female side is to get other people to do things for me. Okay, that's power. Okay, my power. I'm a writer. I've written all these books and more. And they help people and make a difference. I make money and all that. But what if nobody reads those books? Okay, that's my female power, is I attract people. See, that's the, people read about the law of attraction. It's your female power that allows you to draw people to you, to read those books, to need what you have to say and appreciate what you have. So that's female power is I don't have to do everything myself. Male side, I'm happy to do everything myself. See, it's within both of us, and you're never extremely one or the other. You're a balance of both. Everybody has their own unique balance. All I can say to people, well, how do you know how much I'm on too far on my male side? Or to a man, how do you know I'm too much on my female side? I know if you're stressed. If you're happy and you're not filled with judgments and criticisms, and you're satisfied and you're motivated, then you're in balance. If you're not in balance, well, how do you know? If you're a woman, you're too far on your male side. If you're a man, you're too far on your female side. Generally speaking, there is such a thing where a man has imbalance where he's too masculine. And a man who's too masculine will have no emotions at all. And he's a sociopath or psychopath. Okay, so this is maybe 1 out of 10 men are sociopaths, psychopaths. All politicians are, according to the books I read about this. They lie to you all the time. They lie right in your face all the time, knowing that we're just lying through our. They just smile in the face, lying to you. They all do. They couldn't get to that job to have half the people in the world hate you. In America, at least, it's that way. Half people hate either one or the other. You hate. You got to have disconnection from any real feelings at all. You can fake feelings, but you're really not connected to your soul at all. They're soulless. Right now, all these wars in the world, these are soulless people. What you saw in Australia during the whole lockdown thing, these are soulless people. I saw a video of the U.S. Army, one guy refusing to take a shot, okay, the optional shot, right? And he refused to take it. They put him in a jail, and it wasn't enough to put him in the jail. They had 8 guys come in and tackle him to the ground to put that needle into him. He's going to take it. He still resisted, got away, went to court, and they were all punished for doing that. He won the case against the army. You can't do that to people. This is humanity. You can't control people. Some people can. They only think of their own self. They don't think about you at all. And they always justify it in some crazy way. Anyway, so those are what would be called real narcissists. That's a person who has only testosterone, no compassion, no empathy. Then you have women who are only on their female side, which is very rare today, but it is there. Like, I remember hearing the story of the woman who became the princess of Japan. As soon as she became princess, she had to take antidepressants and everything. If you don't have to earn your way in life, where everything is done for you, and you're a woman and you don't do anything with your opportunities, you'll have extreme anxiety. And that's too much feminine energy will be anxiousness and helplessness. And this was what was called hysteria historically. The Greeks, that's the Greek word hysteria. And 25% of the women on average were hysterical. That's why women were not in politics at all, because they were, too much for me to handle. They would faint. This was real, okay? The women who had the influence to be in politics, the whole dynamic of social ego was that your wife didn't do anything for herself. So you see the Japanese women, they have these little dresses, they can't run or do anything. And Chinese women, you basically, you're a kept woman, you don't do anything, you just look pretty and everybody does something for you. So usually all the royalty women were nuts. And you can see that in history. The royalty men were nuts as well. If you actually look at what goes on in royalty, because these are men who never had to earn their way. It was given to them. So they're dysfunctional. We've written books written on what was called back in the day, in the 50s, playboys. Playboys were men who could never be monogamous. They could never be commitment. They would take drugs. They get drink. They end up killing themselves. They were the children, all males of wealthy fathers who didn't have to earn their money. So you see a lot of, and men who didn't have to earn it, they will have these difficulties making commitment and so forth. You look at the guy, the Amazon guy who's got trillions, billions and billions of dollars. He worked hard. He was a different person. But once he got to the top, he didn't have to do anything. And he's really being overpaid. You see, this is the problem with all the people who are in the billions. They're being way overpaid. They're not really earning they worked hard at one point, many of them, but then they don't have to work anymore. It's a thing for me as well. I have to watch this, which is, I don't have to work for money. I don't do this for money. So, and I get paid so much when I do something. It's like I didn't really earn it. It was so easy. That lowers a man's testosterone and it raises his estrogen. Anytime a man is doing what he likes to do, enjoying what he enjoys doing all the time. That's estrogen. And then he will start becoming more and more dissatisfied, more and more picky, and so forth. This is like,
it's really interesting hearing you speak like this, because what it is for me is a real bird's eye view into what actually happens in relationships and what actually helps people become successful in relationships and have long-term loving relationships. It really is a bird's eye view of that, in my opinion, because you're looking at sort of the needs of each gender and what makes them thrive and be fueled ongoingly. And like with so many relationships breaking down in recent times.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know who always has had the happiest marriages is middle-class people. Middle class. That's where the woman depended on the man to make enough money, and he made enough money to provide a nice life. As soon as you make more money, then you become more picky. I'll share another experience. I just watched myself going through all these stages of success and failure, success, all this stuff. I got to my point in and this is before I was famous author. I was just teaching my little workshops, weekend workshops. I was a therapist and so forth. And I was earning enough to, when I flew from LA to New York, I was going to fly first class the first time. Now, back in those days, you didn't have coupons or whatever. You basically paid literally 10 times more for a first class seat. And you don't get 10 times more benefit. All right. You do get more benefit. You get more space, you get better food, but you don't get 10 times better. So here I'm in this flight. First time, I'm like, I'm going to spend this money. It was a stretch for me, but I deserve it. I'm going to get my first class seat. And I got on the plane. I even was so casual about it. I didn't even have to be rushed to get in because I got my reserved seat, right? So I get there, my reserved seat, somebody's in it. Then I'm very confident. I talked to the flight attendant. Oh, somebody's in my seat. Would you point that out to them? And she brought up my ticket, saw the other woman's ticket. They had overbooked that seat. This is a gigantic plane. The only seat overbooked was mine. Talk about a lesson I needed to learn. So then I said, well, is there another seat? She says, no. And is there another seat in the plane? Let me see. Well, we have one seat left. It was in the middle of the smoking section. This is back a long time ago when there was a smoking section, and there were three seats like that. And I'm right in the middle of the whole smoking section. And at that time, I was like very judgmental person. If somebody was smoked, oh, I don't want to be around smoke. Now I could care less. You know, I'm a free being. But then it was like, oh, disgusting.
There's no chance I'm sitting in that seat. Yeah.
No chance I'm sitting. I say, so there I'm stuck in that seat. I had such outrage come out inside of me. I just wanted to, did you know how much money I made this year? Of course I didn't, because at least I have training. I don't misbehave out loud, but I can feel it inside. I was so furious. Why was I so furious? I've never felt that angry before. I never felt that judgmental. I never felt that above somebody. How dare you treat me this way? It was because I paid and I expected more and I didn't get more. So the more you expect, when you expect too much, then you have all these tantrums of a child not getting what they want. So it's to find the moderate way is the whole thing. Everything is finding moderation. This is in Buddhism, is always finding the middle way, you know, finding balance in our lives. So many women, they'll talk about they find balance, but as long as you're trying to find balance without this understanding of what behaviors produce my male side, what behaviors produce my female side, and then whenever you're feeling mad at somebody, turn it around and go, no, I'm only upset because I'm not taking care of me. I mean, no matter what happens to you, if you're upset, it's you who's upset. And you only get upset when you're out of balance, when you had unrealistic expectations, you're demanding too much. And the more you think of yourself, sometimes the more overreactive you are. And to contrast this with, there's a famous, really famous, one of these late night comedians. His name's not coming to me right now, but he was like 10 years, #1 late night comedian in America. And they're always jockeying on the different networks. There's always 3 of them. And so he was the #1, and they decided they wanted to move in somebody younger and give him a later slot. And then they did the later slot, and then they moved him around. And it was all this politics and Hollywood baloney and a lot of big egos being bruised. And so when he was being interviewed, he said, well, how did you handle all of that moving you around? And he basically said, it didn't bother me at all. I said, why didn't it bother me? Well, I think, you have no idea that I have such low self-esteem. I don't think I deserved it anyway. This is the benefits of low self-esteem. I never felt like I'm being mistreated, yet I enjoy what I get. That sometimes we pump ourselves up so much with our sense of entitlement. And we logically look at this. You know, sometimes I'm counseling a woman and she's upset with her husband. So why are you so upset? Well, he did this and this and this. And I said, well, is that really that bad? Well, he shouldn't. I do this and this and this. And I just kind of, well, who's really upset him? Did he really make you upset, or is it you being upset?
No
And
choice.
he's made, and then I said, and do you love him? Of course I love him. Well, if you love him, do you think being angry at him is you're loving him? See, we fool ourselves. You know, we get mad at our partners, and at the same time we say we love you. And our value, because I think if you could summarize anything that's made my relationships better, is that my value is that above all, I value being a good, generous, loving, patient person. That's my commitment. And if I'm not that, it's my fault. Somebody can trigger me to be that way, but if I'm not me, no matter what somebody does, if I get upset about it, it's me getting upset about it. And I can, if I have the power, and say, this is where I was different than most people, I have the power to come back to remembering who I am, this loving guy. Because when I'm this loving guy, I have patience, I have forgiveness, I have understanding, I have self-esteem, so I can ask for what I want. But in that journey of trying to find myself, I realized, and doing that, there's lots of hacks, lots of biohacks. So let's come back to a real simple one, which is this one of romance. When a man does something for you, so you don't have to do it. Now that's one surge of estrogen. A bigger surge of estrogen happens once you overcome this challenge within yourself as a woman, which is ask, and he is suddenly happy to do it. Ask. Because see, when you ask, you're actually being the most feminine thing you can do is to ask for help. Because what you're acknowledging is that I trust that you will say yes. I trust that you will say yes. If you don't trust, if you're like thinking, oh, I'd like help, or it'd be nice if somebody did something for me like that, but I'm not going to ask. Why do you not ask? Because I don't trust that they want to do it. I don't trust that they'll be happy to do it. And what is the number one message you can give to a man that will open his heart, that will make him the best man in the world, is when men feel trusted. See, this is the soldier who goes to battle. You know, it's like, this is the guy to protect us. If you have a protector, it's because you trust him to take care of you. And this is what fuels testosterone. When people ask me to solve a problem, like when I give a seminar or talk, my testosterone triples, literally, because all these people have paid money for me to spend that time with them because they're trusting I have something of value for them. It's the trust that brings out the best of me. And in the beginning, when women are falling in love, they think he's the one, and he behaves like the one. And then they say, well, why did he stop behaving like the one? Well, you stopped trusting him to be the one. But I don't trust him to be the one because he's no longer the one. Well, maybe your lack of trust is your inability to pull out the best of him. And without a doubt, I would look to a man and I say, why doesn't she trust you? Because you stopped doing the little things you used to do in the beginning, because you don't understand women. It's like, you, in a man's mind, it's like, why do I do the little stuff? I'm doing the big stuff now. I'm only going to do the little stuff in the beginning. He doesn't realize the compliments, the affection, the attention, the interest, the desire, the happiness, the seer. All of those little things is what keeps a woman's estrogen up. So my job is biohacks in order to raise estrogen.
That's interesting, because if you're in a relationship, you're listening to this, and a lot of people probably tuning in because they are in relationships and they want to go deeper into them and have long-lasting, happy, healthy relationships.
Yes.
So listening to this, you know, even if you've decided you want to grow in your relationship, but your partner's not showing signs of wanting to grow at the same rate as you are, I'm hearing you, and I'm hearing you say we need to take control about the changes that we make within our side of the relationship. Change the way that you speak, change the way that you communicate, change the way that you ask for things. Be there to invoke that neediness within that man or that woman, or show that trust, or lend that understanding, whatever it is. It's like we have more control than we think, rather than blaming the partner for their actions. Perhaps we change our actions and see a flow-on effect.
You're absolutely right. You summarized it beautifully. This is the bird's eye view, as you're putting it. This is, we see what's going on, but then we need to actually have the biohacks, the things that really make the difference. So let's take one that's very common that everybody knows. Go on a romantic date. All right. First of all, why romantic dates do help, and they're good, is if you were not feeling as attracted to your partner, or you weren't feeling the attraction or the motivation or the connection, whatever words you want to put it, I go to a therapist and say, oh, well, you should go on a date every week. Why go on a date? Well, what does a date do? What a date does is you go and do something new and different. Goes out of the routine. You break the routine and do something new and different, interact in different situations. And what new and different does, it produces dopamine in the brain. For a man, dopamine will always raise testosterone. For a woman, if she feels safe with that man, her dopamine will raise her estrogen. So there you're starting to wake up some of the romantic feelings because he's doing for her. If he pays for the meal, he will raise more testosterone. If she pays for the meal, her testosterone goes up, not her estrogen. If she's planning the date, okay, it's her testosterone side as opposed to him planning the date. But now, practically speaking, he doesn't know what you want. And often he'll say, what do you want to do? And you'll say, what do you want to do? And he'll say, well, let's go see this movie. And she'll say, okay, that's not a romantic date. The romantic date is when you take time to have a discussion to find out what she wants to do. It's not what he wants to do. That's not a romantic date. That's his friendship, which is okay. But you want to work with raising estrogen is when he's doing for her. So one hack is for her. She has to take charge of the other. It's never, love and romance is not a one-way street. It takes both sides. From her side, she needs to say, next week, let's do something fun. I've thought of 3 things we can do. You pick and let me know tomorrow what you think is best. So he gets to be the leader, but he's leading her where she wants to go. And the things she points out should not be things for him. It should be things for her, things that he's going to do for her. So that's romance. That's simple. That's to ensure you're getting it. In the beginning, he will do that. He'll say, oh, where you want to go, whatever, and have conversation maybe. Or she'll just say, where do you want to go? Which goes nowhere. You're just training him to be a narcissist. Basically, he has to learn to get out of himself for you. After all, what is sex? Sex is him going into you, not you going into him. If you go into him, you get something else.
Always a bit of cheekiness from John Gray.
So that's the polarity. Now, once the dopamine comes in, his testosterone goes up, her estrogen goes up. What you have here is polarity. Polarity is your only way to sustain attraction over a lifetime. The more she can feel like a woman in my presence, and the more I feel like a man in her presence, there will be a polarity that allows me to want to become one with her. Because see, I have a female side, I have a male side, but let me go over to my male side, let her go more to her female side, and now I want to connect with her to connect with my female, and she gets to connect with her male and female by connecting with me. She finds her wholeness through that. She gets to come back to her female. The only way for men to reconnect with their female is through a woman. Okay, you'll see men when they get a divorce, they're heartbroken. Most men are married 3 years later. They have to have sex. They have to. Our sex center is twice as big as a woman's. Why? Because the sexual experience for a man increases his capacity to feel. It allows estrogen to get produced in his body. And ironically, we think of men with testosterone have erections. He can't make an erection unless he has estrogen as well. His estrogen has to go up along with high testosterone, then estrogen goes up. Back when we went to the sociopaths, they can have super high testosterone. They can't get erections. This is why they're violent, to go to the dark side. This is the sadist. They only can get an erection by causing pain to somebody else. Okay, pain or pleasure. But you cause pain to somebody, then he can feel, and they get off on it. This is who's running our country and running our world. You just don't know all the kinky, crazy stuff politicians do and all these CEOs do. And here I live in this nice little town of Mill Valley, and everybody's got, we used to be the artistic side, all the rock stars lived here, and authors and counselors. We used to be those people. But then San Francisco got rich, and all the lawyers came in, the doctors came in, the .com people came in, the house is worth 7 times more, the property went up in value. So who are these people here? Well, I find out from my bookkeeper, she has her young child in the elementary school. How do you raise money for the elementary school? They have key parties. You know what a key party is? Tell your audience what a key party is.
Is that when we're sharing the keys around? And
you put all the keys, you have to be into the bowl, and then the women go pick a key. And whoever man's key that is, she's going to have sex with that night.
Yeah.
They're bored. They're bored stiff in their marriage because the women are all men. They're all on their male side. And the men are on their male side. They're making money and whatever, but she doesn't need his money. It's totally different when you're a man, you make money, and your wife says, yes, I don't have to work. But suddenly you say, oh, I make money. And she says, well, so do I. So what else are you going to give me? So what she doesn't know how to do, and he doesn't know how to give, is how to articulate what else he can give her. And what else he can give her is support for her to come back to her female side. And that then helps him come back to his male side. Because whenever I'm tending to my wife's female side, that is my masculine side. As a man, I then also have to practice doing things that are masculine, like never complaining. See, once you have sex with a woman and you have your brain changes, you start bonding with her, and you both have these mirror cells. Okay, these mirror cells open up. As children, we have them, how we absorb and learn everything from our parents. As we duplicate them, we duplicate them. But as soon as you have sex, you have the feelings of a child. I mean, think about the couple who's falling in love. Oh, sweetie pie. Oh, oogie, oogie. It's like talking to a baby sometimes, talking to each other. This is because all these pure love, the child is full of love. So you're feeling all this love. Your childlike feelings are coming up. Also in your brain, your mirror cells are waking up. So if she complains, he immediately duplicates it and complains back. This is the stupidest thing in the world. Men aren't taught this. Never complain to a woman. Never raise your voice to a woman. If you raise your voice to a woman, you're being a woman. Men only raise their voice when their estrogen levels are high. When a man is angry and raising his voice, unless he has to call, hey, Bob over there, yeah, that's okay. It's not with anger. But when you're using anger to intimidate, or it just comes up at somebody to change them, using anger to change is the weakest thing a man can do. And biologically, he's at his weakest point. His testosterone levels are always very low. His estrogen levels are always very high. Nobody knows this. Everybody always thinks testosterone causes aggression. No, they've proven it. Testosterone with bulls, testosterone doesn't. It appears to be that way, but with the actual studies show that you can cut off a bull, but give him just a little bit of testosterone and he'll be just as aggressive. Okay, so it's basically, it's the estrogen. And so for a man, he gets turned on to a woman, he's connecting with her, he's loving her, he's attracted to her, he's seeing her beauty. So his estrogen's going up, but his testosterone has to be much higher. And then as sex becomes more and more enjoyable, his estrogen goes higher and higher and higher. And at a certain point, it pushes down his testosterone, and that's an ejaculation. And it's over. He's done. His testosterone has crashed. He doesn't want to connect with you. He doesn't feel any desire. He doesn't want to do it again. He's got to take some time to recover. All of that is, he needs that time to be separate in order to rebuild his testosterone. And that's normal and natural. That's a cycle that most couples go through. He's really close. Then he's busy doing his thing. For Bonnie and I, it was like perfect because I was away at least 3 days a week. So 3 days a week, even 1 day a week, you come back, you want to have sex 2 or 3 times. But if you're at home all the time, yeah, nothing's different. You need some dopamine stimulation. But what the dopamine does, though, for a man, it creates more testosterone. And the newness of a relationship produces dopamine. But once time passes, newness is not there. Routine, familiarity, ease, comfort, that produces a lot of serotonin, which is comfort and ease and gratitude and appreciation. There's no passion. It's gone. So we have to biohack our body because historically, men went out and risked their lives every day. The healthiest relationships I've ever worked with were women. It was in Germany, the wives of German officers. Okay, this is American Army in Germany. Most people don't know we still occupy Germany. They don't think Germany's free. No, we occupy them. And of course, people don't know that Israel's occupied America to a great extent. All the people in charge, okay, many of them still have Israeli passports. People don't realize this, but everybody's occupying everybody else. And when you come to politics, you have madness, you have liars, you have secrecy. Please, let's all at least have happy relationships. It will spread. Okay, exactly. So somehow I have to always squeeze little things out over there. So forgive me if I rub somebody's politics the wrong way. It's just a passing thought. Coming back to our relationships. So what we have social paths. This is men with no estrogen. What we want to find is this nice balance within ourselves. And whenever you're in a state of ease and comfort and motivation, you are in balance. Ease and comfort and motivation. That's our balanced place. And if you're not in that place, then you're tipped one side to the other. Generally speaking, women are tipped too far to their male. One of the signs of that is you feel overwhelmed. Okay, if you're overwhelmed and you feel anxiety because of that, it's because you're on your male side. But when you come back to your female side, you might then begin to feel a lot of anxiety because your male side, in order to suppress negative emotions, you go to your male side. When men go to their male side, they're not suppressing negative emotions. See, it's just like rationalization. Whenever you rationalize a problem, you're going to your male side. So here's a rationalization, for example. I say to my wife, honey, there's nothing we can do about it, so don't worry about it. I've just rationalized. Hey, there's nothing you can do about it. Don't worry about it. Why are you upset? Don't be upset. We can't do anything about it. Forget it. No problem. Hey, you're making a big deal out of nothing. That's all completely accurate from a rational point of view. But you have to take into consideration, if you live in that world, you'll have no love, you'll have no emotion, you'll have no feeling, you'll have no integration with what also is going on in your brain. Is that women will have these emotions that are overreactions. And, you know, we don't like to say that. I would never say to my wife, she's overreacting, but she's overreacting all the time. And when she's ever worried about money, a multimillionaire, worried about money, well, you're going to die. We have to realize that as human beings, we're not perfect. I'm not always as loving and patient and kind, although now I quite am, having been 72 years old, a master of this. My wife, my new wife, or not that new, my Bonnie, my 32-year marriage, she's passed, and I've gone through my grieving of 2 years, and now I'm married again. And people keep saying it's so hard to find somebody. Sure wasn't for me. And they said, well, you're famous and everything like that, but maybe that certainly helped. But what really helped is that I don't demand perfection. I demand and love. I need somebody who loves me. I need somebody I'm attracted to. And those are my two major things. I love them. They love me, and I'm attracted to them. What more could I want? Yes, my wife has lots of problems. It's very funny now for me. I'm getting my karma back, because one of Bonnie's biggest complaints is John has a tendency to be messy. So she had to clean up a lot for me, but I wasn't that messy. So now my new wife is way more messy than I ever was.
So now you look neat. You look organized. Your bookshelf behind you looks pretty organized. So
it could be so much better. It's actually quite relaxed, but they fall down from time to time, but I put them back up. No, but I'm a ordinary kind of neat person, but my wife, my new wife, not that new, but she is very messy. And I just feel like I'm getting my karma back from, this is what my wife Bonnie went through. Every relationship is an opportunity to learn and grow. So I'm learning and learning to be, I'm the one who cleans up, and I'm like, okay, I'm just doing what Bonnie used to do for me. And thank you, Bonnie. I think about her every day.
Probably having a quiet laugh up there about it all.
Oh, she's having so much fun.
I love that you have given us tools to really take control of changes that we want to make in our relationship, and also see things from a wider perspective as well. Because sometimes I've been in a relationship for many, many years, and you know, you can get tied up in things that
it's so tied up in the little stuff. You hold on to little stuff.
That's
so
right.
Let me give a few more quick biohacks. Okay, this is just real quick. We got the knowledge to kind of see why we put it together. So real quick, talk with your partner. I'm a woman. I have different needs than you. Little things make a big difference to me. It raises my estrogen levels. That's what I need to do. I need your help to raise my estrogen. Here's some things that will do it. One is 4 hugs a day that he initiates. He has to find you 4 times in a day to give a hug.
Oh, love that one.
Yeah, it's just in a 6-second hug. It's not a quick hug. It's a 6-second hug. In every hug, and 1 hug a day, she has to do something, because she doesn't have to pursue him for the hugs. But in 1 hug a day, she has to do something. And what that is the moment of trust, as she says, do you love me? And he says, yes. How much do you love me? With all my heart. And any other, you still think I'm beautiful? Are you mad at me? No, I love you. So any little insecurity, and you think you don't have insecurities, then just follow the script. At least 3 things. Do you love me? Are you? How much do you love me? Are you happy to be married to me? Are you happy with me? Or you think I'm beautiful? Something simple like that. At least 3. You can go on for more. You will always get an affirmative answer from him. And what will happen is that will bring him back to being in balance with his male and female side. Because as a man, our role is to provide love for you. Our role is to make you safe. So we have to be, that's like a moment of, I have to give it to you right. So I plant my flag. You see, it's a powerful thing when a man says that, but 10 times more powerful if a woman asks him, do you love me? Now, if you don't have this understanding that we're doing a biohack, if you just randomly said to your husband, hey, do you love me? Of course I love you. Why would you say that? That's ridiculous. He'd take it as criticism. So you set it up. And the way you set it up is, you know, honey, sometimes I think you're so amazing. I feel less than you. I feel like you're more powerful. I feel more insecure. And I know you love me. Of course you love me. But sometimes I start to doubt that. And I just need a little that insecurity shows up. So I'm going to do this because it's a biohack to keep my estrogen levels up. So it's like, do you love me? It's 4 hugs a day. Each hug is 6 seconds. So that's one. Another biohack. It's the hand goes up 5 fingers. When your hand goes up every day, a woman in a relationship with a husband needs to at least once in that day raise her hand with 5 fingers, which says, I'm going to make a request that will take less than 5 minutes. And it's something that I could do for myself, but I want you to do for me, even though I can do it for myself and I'll be able to enjoy not having to do it. See, women, whenever they're stressed, they live in a world of I have to. And all it takes is a few moments where you don't have to do something. It's like the clouds are in front of the sun, the clouds move out of the way. It's a little thing within 5 minutes. So it just looks like, and this is her discipline. She has to practice asking him to do something that he does for you without a grumble, without a resistance, without a later, without, oh, I don't want to do it now. Because it's only 5 minutes. There's not a man on this planet if you just say, and what I need is to feel no resistance because it's only 5 minutes. So can you just like the fire started and you got to run the beginning of the race and you go at it. So you go, yes, I'd be happy to. So you make the request. He says, yes, I'll be happy to. And it's done. You can't ask for something that takes more than 5 minutes. And if it does take more than 5 minutes, he doesn't have to finish it. It's I only need less than 5 minutes. And what man won't give the woman he give his life for 5 minutes a day? That's how we just set it up. It's a real simple thing. And then once a week, she gets to do this, which is 10 minutes. Okay. and that's the called as you wish. That's the genie in the bottle. He's going to just, whatever you ask for within 10 minutes, he can do it. He'll say, as you wish, and go off and do it. She needs to experience it. He will respond to me immediately. And he's happy to do it. And he will be happy to do it because it's only 10 minutes. Then he can go back to his cave. He can do whatever he wants to do. He's done his job. He feels satisfied. My wife is satisfied. These are some wonderful biohacks.
I think we can have some fun with those in our relationships. That's for absolute sure. Now, I want to just ask you 2 more things. One, I ask every single guest this question on this podcast. And what is something that you once heard that you could not unhear, John Gray?
What I can't unhear is a message from my mother that she was an example of and used to say when I was upset or worried. She said, Johnny, whenever you're not getting what you want, what you need is always available. So when you're unhappy, you're looking in the wrong direction for what you want. You just have to come back to what is your need and it will always be available for you. And my children all have it. That's something my mother gave to me, that everything you need is always available to you. And when it's not, it may not always what you want, but when what you need is available. And if you feel like it isn't, you're looking in the wrong direction. So if I'm needing my wife's love and she's not giving it to me, I need to do some self-love, or I need to go spend some time with a friend, or I need to go read a book and educate myself. Those are other needs we have. Intimacy is not our only need. So whenever you're not getting what you need, you're looking in the wrong direction. That's what I live by.
I love that you got that from your mum too, and that you've passed it down to your kids. That's beautiful. You did mention, and I don't know if you have time for this, but your meditation practice. Can you share a part of that with us?
We'll even do it in 3 or 4 minutes. Okay. So everyone, for a spiritual experience, prayer is a part of that. And you could use any prayer that you like. I'm going to use a simple prayer that doesn't have any sort of major religious overtones. But we have these energy centers. The top up here, our crown, our forehead, our throat, expression, our heart, feeling, our belly, which is our power, sex area, the sensation area, and then our unconscious mind. So we're going to go down the body, okay? And just bring the energy down the body and you'll feel it. So this is called awakening the channels to feel the energy. See, I live in a world of faith that the universe supports me, but part of that faith is based on my experience of being supported, but also the actual experience of feeling energy flowing into my body when I call it. I do this, and now suddenly my body is filling up like a balloon with energy because I practice this. So this is how it works, which is we have to go along with me and just go along with my prayer. Everybody watching, and maybe you could do it too. Hands all the way up in the air, hands all the way in the air. And you can have your eyes, actually, you want to see me do this, I suppose. But the prayer is, you say along with me, Dear God.
Dear God.
You say it out loud, Dear God. And then the arms stretched out. My heart is open to you. So you bring your arms down and out. Okay. So my heart is open to you. And then please come And please come means your hands slowly come together like this. Slowly come together in a prayer position, but not touching. And now you're starting to feel a little energy between the palms and the fingertips. And then you say, as they come together in a kind of prayer position, please come, fill me with your love and light. So this is what we're asking from the universe, to be filled with love and to feel with a sense of lightness or light. Fill me with your divine light.
Love and light.
Now, in this situation, you have your own thing, a candle at home or a crystal or various things, but you can look into the screen now and you'll see behind me is my big crystal. So you can imagine being in the room with me after we say, fill me with your love and light. Use this crystal frequency to fill me with your love and light. Use this crystal frequency to fill me with your love and light. Try saying that.
Use this crystal frequency to fill me with your love and light.
And you could do this with a candle, which would be, use this fire to fill me with your love and light. Or you could do it in the ocean. You could just simply be at the ocean, using the ocean, the water frequency. Fill me with your love and light. And now you can think of a flower in your mind's eye, a beautiful flower. So this is a flower meditation with your hands out. So you're saying, dear God, my heart is open to you. Please come, fill me with your love and light. Using this flower, send me the frequency of the flower. Fill me with your love and light. So imagine that flower, the color of the flower, using this flowers with your hands as an offering to the divine. Using this flower, send me your love and light. And then with your hands, this is a nice little move. If you watch this move, it's bringing your hands up and around, down. So you bring it down like, now I'm not going to do anything. So right now, using the flower, fill me with your love and light. Right now, using the flower, fill me with your love and light. And then you open palms. Thank you. So you can just be sitting there. Now we've connected a bit through it, and I'm going to just say it a few times while you feel it along with me and experience the tingling, the waking up of your fingertips. This is where you touch everything. So if you want to touch God, the divine energy, and let it fill you up, be aware of your fingertips. So dear God, my heart is open to you. Please come, fill me with your love and light. Use this beautiful rose, use this crystal, use the fire frequency to fill me with your love and light. Right now, using this rose, fill me with your love and light. Thank you. Right now, I'm filling your love and light using this flower. And just be with me in this moment, and you'll feel the tingling and your hands starting to light up. Just with the energy, tingling energy, sparkling energy, and gradually with intention, you want to move that to your heart, up to your elbows, to your shoulders, to your heart. Now, in the heart, reach your hands out again and just say, using the flower, take away any pain in my heart. Take away any sadness I have. And think of something that makes you sad. Take away any anger that I might have. Think of something that makes you angry. Think of any fears you have. Take away my fears so I can be at ease and comfortable. Think of a mistake you've made recently. Maybe you did something you're embarrassed or you feel guilt or shame. Take away my guilt. Take away my shame. Take away my feelings of embarrassment. Take away any negative feelings in my heart. And now you can just feel as though the fire is pulling it out of you. The flower is drawing it out of you. And as it's drawing it out, now as it's going out, pull light and love back in by desiring. Feel what you want right now. The energy going out and then pulling the energy back as a circle. Circulate the energy as you feel. What is it I'm wanting? What is your soul wanting? What is it you want to be? What is it you want to do? This energy flowing in and out allows you to fully feel what you want to feel. So right now, just take a moment and say, I want to feel happy. Feel your happiness. Something you get to do. Something you get to do. Feel your gratitude. The whole idea of getting the energy to flow is you can now choose what you want to feel. You can choose, I want to feel happy. I want to feel friendly. I want to feel loving. I want to feel joyful. I want to feel motivated. Whatever you want to feel right now. You want to feel powerful and confident? Just draw the energy in of that frequency. And then affirm something as you're letting the energy flow out and come back in. Energy flowing out and in. This is where you can affirm. For me, I'll just do this affirmation for all of us. I'm at ease and comfortable in all situations throughout the day and night. I'm at ease and comfortable throughout all situations, the day or night. I love myself, I am loved, and God is by my side. Feel the energy in your fingertips. There we go. And then you say, thank you.
Thank you, John. That was so beautiful. And to bring that energy into our relationships will make them even more special. Thank you so much for your time today. It was truly remarkable.
Real pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the show. What did you think? And what did you feel? Let us know by leaving me a message on the Things You Can't Unhear Instagram community page. And if you can, give us some ratings love on your favourite listening platform.